Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Growth Moments. I'm on the road today. I'm actually at a client waiting to go to work, and so I hope that the background noise here in this manufacturing company doesn't interfere with the video. Well, hopefully it'll be okay. Anyway, I have something important I want to talk with you about today, and that is the difference between symptoms and problems. Now, we all have problems in life that we need to solve, but it is human nature to focus on the symptoms rather than the problems. Now, why is that? Well, I think there's two reasons for it. One is that symptoms are on the surface. They sort of surround the problem. If you can imagine the problem being at the center of a ball, and the symptoms are sort of surrounding the problem on the outside of the ball. So symptoms are easy to see. So it doesn't require a lot of work for us like it does digging down into the center of the ball to find the real problem. But I think there's a more telling reason why we tend to focus on symptoms versus problems. And that is that there is a certain amount of angst, fear, if you will, that lives in all of us. And it gets us concerned when we think about really having to deal with what the core problem is. But here's two important things that we need to understand. First of all, if we don't address and find the root cause of the problem and eliminate that root cause, the problem never, ever goes away. And the second thing is that the problem will continue to bother us, and it can actually destroy portions of us. And that is really, really crucial to understand. Let me tell you a quick story about a friend of mine. His name is John Jackman. He goes to my church. One day, John wasn't feeling well, and so he went to the emergency room, and he was diagnosed with the flu and sent home. But John didn't get better. A couple of days later, he was feeling even worse, and he went back to the same emergency room and was again diagnosed with the flu and sent home. Finally, about 2 days after that, John was literally almost on death's doorstep, and he was admitted into the hospital, and another friend of mine, Dr. Abe Daoud, who was a surgeon at that hospital, discovered that John had a ruptured appendix and that he had sepsis in his system. Abe operated, removed the appendix, and thank God, over a period of time, John made a complete recovery. But the lesson that we can learn from this particular situation is that when John went to the emergency room, the diagnosis of the flu was treating a symptom. It wasn't getting to the root cause of the problem. And if Abe had not gotten eventually to the root cause of the problem, John would have died. That's what happens when we don't treat the real root cause of the problems in our lives. Now, it could be a problem that you're facing personally. It could be a problem with your business. Maybe your business is struggling because of COVID and you're wondering what to do and you can't seem to get to the real root cause of the problem. There's a process that I use that I just call why. Now, some people refer to it as 5 why, some people refer to it as 7 why. I refer to it as why because in my experience, it's never clear how many times you have to ask why in order to get to the root cause of the problem. But let me give you an example. Let's say that you're in a situation where you're running out of money before you're running out of month. In other words, you're spending more than you're making. You can look at that and say, well, gee, I'm spending more than I'm making. But you need to ask yourself, why? Why am I spending more than I'm making? Well, I have more expenses than I have income. Okay, great. Why is that? Well, I bought a brand new car, and the car payment is what's sort of pushing me over the top. The car payment was more than I thought it was going to be, and therefore, at the end of the month, I don't have enough money to pay my other bills. Okay, well, why is that? Why is it that the car payment pushed you over the top as far as your expenses were concerned? Well, I guess that's because I didn't go and take the time to do a budget to find out exactly how much I could afford in a car payment. Okay, and why is that? Well, I guess the bottom line is I just really wanted the car. And so I was going to find a way to buy it, even though I now realize that I can't afford it. So you see what happens there? As you ask why, and if you're really honest and transparent with yourself, and as you dig down deep, you get to the root cause of the problem. And the root cause in this case was not that I'm spending more money than I'm making. The root cause is my behavior with money because I bought something that I couldn't afford. And when you get to that point and you understand the problem, now we can address the behavior that you have with money and begin to work on that situation. So what about you? What are the things that you're facing in life? What are the problems that you're trying to solve that if you were really honest with yourself, you're just treating the symptoms and not really getting to the root cause of the problem? Try that why process. Get really, really honest and transparent with yourself and ask why, until you finally get to a point where you really understand the problem. This is Gary Smith. God bless you today. Go and live your life on purpose, and I'll see you next time right here on Growth Moments.